I'm Riho88riho, and I thought I'd tell a little bit more about me and my story and how I got into resin crafts. So it began pretty simply. Uh, I was gifted some roses, gorgeous roses, had a blue and white mix, so they weren't just one color, so beautiful. And I really wanted to know, how do I preserve these? Because, roses really only last about a week, two, if you're lucky, maybe three. And I wanted to know, how do I keep them? How do I keep them around in all their beautiful glory? And I started to look up on the internet, how do I, preserve flowers? And of course, everyone talks about drying the flowers. You want to make sure you dry them, and that way you can do a couple different methods, stick them in books and squish them. But I didn't want to do that one. I was like, I don't want a flat rose. I want a, normal, pristine looking rose to the best of, the abilities. And so among the different methods listed, one of them that was mentioned was putting dried roses into resin craft. And basically storing them in resin so that they hold their beauty and their longevity in that case. So I looked it up. I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? What do I do to get started in this? What materials do I need? How do I dry flowers? And so I also kind of realized I can't just jump right into my first project being using resin with dry flowers. Like, I'll be honest, that's a little advanced, especially after having done it now. It's not something to start with. So I did look up, what are some good ways to start with resin craft? And of course, coasters were mentioned. And so I jumped right into it, made them, went around asking all my friends, hey, what colors do you and your spouse like? And hey, do you want a circle or do you want a square? A couple of them were always like, why are you asking? It's a little confusing, but here's what you want to know. And I'm like, thanks. And so I ended up making quite a few different coaster sets for my friends and learned a lot along the way. It was a nice way. I definitely would recommend using coasters to kind of start with. So I learned a lot, and I've just been advancing along the way. So I started to get into videos kind of after I had gotten some of the basics down, but I started to realize like there's still a lot I don't know. Like, obviously, way loads I still don't know. And I thought, why don't people learn along with me? And I was like, let's make some videos where we talk about and show, like, hey, let's test this. Let's experiment with this. Let's see what happens when we do this. And I thought it might be pretty cool and fun for people to share the learning and growth experience with me, as well as the experimentation and potentially wacky results. So look forward to my other videos, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy learning with me.